Some people have counted Marvel out of the game, and trust me, I understand. I have said several times they have done things to slight the fans. And look, I get it. People want their comic book and sci fi content unmolested, uncorrupted. And we haven't been getting that from Marvel and or DC. But as I always say, not everything is bad. Marvel did something very interesting. So they released the names of all of the Avengers that will be in Avengers Doomsday. And it generated some buzz on the internet, some excitement. Now, there are people who watch the whole 5 hour live stream. Yes, you heard me correct. It was like a 5 or 6 hour live stream. I can't remember exactly how long it was. What they had, and I'm gonna show the video. They condensed it. I'm thankful. But the way they did this, whoever is running their media, this was actually pretty genius. It was smart. They had chairs with actors' names on it. They would show a chair. It started with Chris Hemsworth reprising his role as Thor, and it would sit there. Like, so the whole time, like, I initially tuned in, but eventually I tuned out when I realized what was going on. I thought that there were going to be, a couple chairs shown. There was going to be, a wide, shot of the camera, and then people would walk in and there'd be some talking. There was none of that. It would sit on this chair, whatever chair it was on, for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Then music would kind of shift and it would move to the next chair. And you'd see a different name. And as it went on, you're like, oh, they're realizing they are releasing who the characters will be in Avengers Doomsday. You got a lot of X-Men characters. This is exciting. Like I said, the way Marvel did this, I gotta hand it to them. So here's a list of the characters that we know so far. And something tells me this is not all the characters, just the ones that they listed. Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, Anthony Mackie as Captain America, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Letitia Wright as Black Panther, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Wyatt Russell's U.S. Agent, Tenoch Huerta Mejia, I think that's how you say that, as Namor, Ibn Mas Baccarat as the Thing. That's just a name for me. It's hard for me. Sim Lu as Shang-Chi. I actually liked Shang-Chi. I know there's a bunch of people that did not like Shang-Chi as a movie. I enjoyed Shang-Chi. I did not have a problem with this movie. I thought the martial arts were decent. They were good. I'm not going to say they were groundbreaking, but I was entertained. Kind of like watching an old kung fu flick. I was entertained. I thought the plot was fine. Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Kelsey Grammer as Beast, Louis Pullman as Century, Danny Ramirez as Falcon, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, David Harbour, Red Guardian, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Hannah John Kamen as Ghost, Tom Hiddleston, Loki, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, huge, that's huge, Ian McKellen as Magneto, another big one, Alan Cumming as Kirk Wagner, Nightcrawler, that is another huge one. I was like, yo, this is going to be fire. Rebecca Ramajan as Mystique, James Marsden as Cyclops, another big one. I like this. And yo, so I'm going to be honest with you. This next one, I didn't realize how excited I was to see this character, but yo, I got to give it up to Channing Tatum as Gambit. Channing Tatum as Gambit. I actually enjoyed watching him as Gambit. It felt cheesy, but in a good way, if that makes sense. Like, yo, you could tell he really tried. He really tried to embody Gambit, and he did a good job. I enjoyed watching him as Gambit in Deadpool and Wolverine. Pedro Pascal, of course, is Reed Richards, and Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Now, I'm interested to see how exactly they portray Doctor Doom, like what story they tell to get Robert Downey Jr. in that role. Like, is it an alternate reality where he is Doctor Doom? Is it an alternate reality where Tony Stark is Doctor Doom? I hope it's not that. I hope he is just Victor Von Doom in some other reality, and he just happens to be a doppelganger of Tony Stark. That's my hope. Anyway, we're going to go watch this trailer because I think this trailer is actually pretty good. I guess not a trailer, just the reveal of the characters. I like the way they did this. And this, like, there was 10 or 20 minutes between names, maybe even more. It was hours that this went on. It was crazy. I was like, yo, whoever put this together, like I said, did a really good job. Because it gave you excitement without really showing you much. It gave you enough to keep you guessing. So now you're wondering, okay, so what is this going to be? What exactly am I getting into here? We don't know, but we want to know. We're excited to see all of these characters in one movie. This budget, they have to make $1 billion with this movie. They have to. Because there's no way with all these actors and actresses, the budget is not going to be out of here. You know what I'm surprised? And I'll wait to the end. I'll kind of tell you what I think about some of the characters we didn't see. Patrick Stewart, that was a big one. Ian McKellen was another big one. James Marsden. I almost still can't believe that. Pedro Pascal and Robert Downey Jr. Now, I understand why they had Robert Downey Jr. as the only one actually in the trailer. Look, the dude is a rock star in Marvel circles. He is an absolute rock star. And I understand why they would want to use him as much as they can to bolster as much fan excitement as they possibly can for this movie. I get it. I cannot say that I'm mad at them for doing that. Okay. Here's an article. I don't know how much of it I'm going to read. We'll see. Avengers Doomsday cast and their roles in Marvel's Secret Wars explained. And this is a good one because you get to see why these characters matter. Now, I noticed there are certain characters that were not mentioned, but I do believe they're going to be in the movie. Incredible Hulk. There's no way they're going to do this movie without Incredible Hulk. I just don't see it happening, right? I just don't see that. No Deadpool and Wolverine? Come on. You don't do this without Deadpool and Wolverine, but maybe they do. We'll see. Anyway, everything dies. With those words, Jonathan Hickman's New Avengers run marked the beginning of the end of the Marvel Universe, where Hickman's New Avengers was about death. The Hickman's Avengers was about life. To quote Thanos, perfectly balanced as all things should be. Over 33 issues, Hickman's New Avengers followed the Illuminati, the secret group that included Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, Black Panther, Namor, and Doctor Strange. While that's another one that I didn't see, Doctor Strange, and there's no way this thing is being done without Doctor Strange. While Hickman's 44-issue Avengers volume began and ended with two men. One was life and one was death, Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. And in the end, one always wins. Hickman's twin Avengers titles were intertwined and time runs out. Avengers 35 and 44 and New Avengers 24 and 33, which counted down to 2015's Secret Wars, both the end and the beginning of the Marvel Universe. Now that Marvel Studios has confirmed the full Avengers Doomsday cast, featuring an amalgamation of characters from both Marvel's Cinematic Universe and the Fox X-Men movies, We're breaking down everything you need to know about the Secret Wars, the 2015 comic book crossover that inspired the multiverse spanning saga below. The announced cast members are Robert Downey Jr., Victor Von Doom, Chris Hemsworth, Thor, and I'm not going to read that because we already read through those names. We'll move past that and get on. Time runs out. When the Illuminati discovered that the universe from across the multiverse were colliding in reality-destroying incursions, Earth's mightiest heroes assembled and then splintered over their attempts to save the world. First, the Illuminati resembled the Infinity Gauntlet and reassembled, the Infinity Gauntlet and, wielding the 6 Infinity Stones, stopped an incursion, destroying most of the gems in the process. Then they did the unthinkable, using antimatter bombs to destroy other worlds so that theirs might live. And it has a quote here from Reed Richards. There have been a series of contractions smashing 2 universes like each of ours together at the incursion point, Earth. Either both Earths are destroyed or one is sacrificed, sparing both universes. Reed Richards. Man, that's a hard choice right there. One group that emerged to stave off the apocalypse was the Cabal, counterparts to the Illuminati: Thanos, Proxima Midnight, Corvus Glaive, Tarex, the incursion survivor known as the Black Swan, the inhuman madman Maximus, and Namor, who joined the Cabal in destroying Earths to save the universe. As the Illuminati's great minds, which now include the mutant beasts of the X-Men, the genius Amadeus Cho, and the smart Hulk, Doc Green, attempted to prevent the end of everything. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Avengers team, including Steve Rogers, Sam Wilson, Captain America, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, Clint Barton, Hawkeye, and Sue Richards, the Invisible Woman, formed, as did the multiversal Avengers, including Hyperion of the Eternals, Starbrand, Nightmask, Abyss, the Cosmic Gardener, Ex Nihilo, and Odinson, the then unworthy Thor. As the number of universes dwindled and hundreds of thousands became less than 24, the last 2 remaining were Earth 616, the main Marvel universe, and Earth 1610, the Ultimate Universe. The 2 universes were on a collision course, the final incursion. And this is a quote from Thanos. What was once the infinite number of realities has after today now been reduced down to 2 final universes. This one and the one from which we came. And do you know what horrors await us on that world? The greatest heroes you've ever seen, the valiant, the courageous. If you want your world to live, we must find a way to kill them all. Spoken like only Thanos would speak it. Thanos would have it no other way. The ultimate universe, Reed Richards, aka the Maker, began destroying planets and joined forces with Thanos, world-killing Cabal in Earth 1610. Meanwhile, and on Earth 616, Reed Richards' foundation had begun building a life raft, a vessel capable of surviving the collapse, so that the remnants of their universe could restart humanity. Time ran out. Everyone dies. As Earth 616 and Earth 1610 collided in a battle to determine the fate of both planets, 2015's Avengers number 44 ended where it began, with Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. One was life and one was death, and one always wins. Everything dies. Meanwhile, Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Strange had become the great eye of the Black Priest in an attempt to salvage the dying multiverse. He encountered the Black Swans, the disciples of their master. Hold on one second. Let me stop that from running. Things always want to run at the worst times. The disciples of their masters, Rabam Alal, who turned out to be Victor Von Doom. Dr. Doom had been traversing the multiverse, murdering Molecule Man, aka Owen Reese, a multiversal constant who had been created by the Ivory Kings as a ticking time bomb to destroy universes. And this is a quote from Molecule Man to Dr. Doom. All beings exist in various states across the multiverse. In one reality, perhaps you're a poet. In another, a beggar. In another, a good man. You are somewhat unique in that there are less of you than there should be, the results of a great culling of dooms. Still, what few of you remain are all to some degree different. All right, this is a big article. Let's see if we can get through the whole thing. As the multiverse died, Dr. Doom discovered that the Beyonders, who had inserted an infinite number of Molecule Men as their self-destruct mechanism into the fabric of the multiverse, were the Ivory Kings responsible for the incursions. Doom mounted an attack on the omnipotent Beyonders, using the Molecule Man as he was meant to be, a bomb built to destroy a universe. Doom destroyed the Beyonders, stole their power, and then stored their power in Molecule Man as a conduit. They would save the remnants of worlds and create a new one as the old one died. That's a good story. Hickman is a good storyteller. Despite what you think about him on other things, Hickman is a very, very good and capable storyteller. And look, obviously, I don't think they can do this in its entirety just like this. There will have to be some changes and some concessions made. They could do it if they're willing to span 15 years and carry this story out. Would it be worth it if we could avoid our certain doom? If we could save something, a quote from Doom. After Steve and Tony's death, Avengers number 44, 2015, Secret War number 1, was the death of everything. As Earth 1610 engaged Earth 616 in battle, the heroes of that world launched the Future Foundation's life raft to evacuate a small number of survivors. Meanwhile, the Maker and the Cabal also escaped aboard their own version of the life raft. During the battle, the teleporter Manifold used his powers to bring Spider-Man, Star-Lord, Captain Marvel, Cyclops, and Jane Foster's store aboard the life raft. But when a life raft carrier section was destroyed in takeoff, Reed Richards watched as the rest of his family, the Fantastic Four, were killed. The final incursion ended as both universes collided and were destroyed. Doom Messiah. At the end of everything, there was only one Doom. Once the multiverse was destroyed, it was revealed that Dr. Doom used the power of the Beyonders to create Battleworld, a patchwork planet composed of the fragments of the worlds that were destroyed in the incursions, and its master was God Emperor Doom. Emperor Doom ruled Battleworld from Castle Doom to Doomsday, where a world-eating sentinel stood guard, Galactus. From Doom's high court, he sat on his throne, Yggdrasil, the world tree, and the royal family included his consort, Susan Storm, and their daughter, Valeria Von Doom, head of the Foundation. As the left hand of Doom, the Foundation was a think tank of great minds that included Val's brother, Franklin Von Doom, as well as Alex Power, Dragon Man, Bentley 23, Nostradamus, Night Machine, and Psycho Man. Doom's right hand was Stephen Strange, Sheriff of Agamotto, and the Thor Corps and all Thor police force enforced All-Father Doom's will with the likes of Thor Odin's son, Storm, the goddess of thunder, and the Stormbreaker Beta Ray Bill. It's a powerful book. I actually like this painting right here. I typically don't like painted covers and painted comic books, but that one was actually good. The villainous cabal eventually emerged from their life raft as refugees of the destroyed Earth 1610, revealing more survivors of the final incursion. Thanos, Reed Richards, The Maker, Yabet Uman Teru, Black Swan, Terex Maximus, Proxima Midnight, Corvus Glaive, and Namor. Miles Morales, the Spider-Man of Earth 1610, also stowed away on the ship and revealed to Strange that he remembered that what was before Doom, and Strange made it, and Strange made what is. Man, couldn't get that out. On the hidden Isle of Agamotto, Strange took Miles to his Sanctum Sanctorum and revealed even more refugees from the time before. The life raft containing Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Peter Quill, Star-Lord, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, Jane Foster, Thor, Scott Summers, Cyclops, and the final two members of the Illuminati, T'Challa, Black Panther, and Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. And this is a quote from Doomsday. Everything died, but in the moment of death, God made a new world. This one, Stephen Strange, Sheriff of Agamotto, Doomsday. The life raft survivors spent 8 years in stasis. Strange explained to these timeline displaced Avengers how God Emperor Doom constructed Battleworld from remnants of the incursion points between collapsing worlds, and that no inhabitants of Battleworld remember the world before. I looked into the abyss. That was omnipotence, and ran from it, Strange admitted. Doom did not. Then he saved all that there was left to save. The survivors of the final incursion, the heroes and the cabal, eventually confronted Emperor Doom, who demanded his new subjects bow to their god. Doom killed a defiant Cyclops, and then Strange, whose last act was to scatter the heroes across Battleworld before Doom could destroy them. The presence of these outsiders sparked rebellion in several kingdoms across Doom-made Battleworld, home to such amalgamations as the remnants of Manhattan, Earth 616 and Earth 1610, Kunlun, Spider Island, Domain of Apocalypse, the Deadlands, and the Wastelands. Meanwhile, the Reed of Earth 616 and the Reed Maker of Earth 1610 put their heads together to answer what seemed to be an unsolvable problem: how to kill a god. And this is a good picture of Doom right here from that. Doom is a menace. Doom is a menace. My name is Reed Richards, and I'm the one who fixes things. A quote from Reed Richards. The two Spider-Men infiltrated Castle Doom and discovered the Molecule Man to be the source of Doom's powers, and Black Panther and Namor returned to Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum and found a god-killing weapon, the Infinity Gauntlet. Elsewhere, Thanos, who thought a mortal should not wield the power to rewrite reality, began to undermine Doom's reign by awakening his enemies. Reed and his counterpart, the Maker, teamed up with Star-Lord on a mission to take down Doom, while Thor mounted an attack on Castle Doom with the Maestro's Hulk army of world breakers and a giant-sized Thing who had been made into the shield defending Castle Doom. The Thing duked it out with Galactus. Star-Lord turned Yggdrasil into a giant Groot, and God Emperor Doom ripped Thanos' spine from his body when the Mad Titan led an annihilation horde against the supposed mortal. Namor and Black Panther, wielding the Infinity Gauntlet, then set out to end Doom's reign. Think about that. Think about the menace that Doom is, that he rips out the spine of Thanos. Thanos thinking he got this all figured out. Thanos thinking that he about to run roughshod and do what he wants to do. And Doom said, you know what? Not so much, buddy. Not in my house. Doom is not to be trifled with. I think we're almost at the end of the article. Everything lives, The 9-issue Secret Wars ended with Reed reuniting with his wife and daughter, Sue and Val, and told them the truth about God. Just as the two Reeds found the source of God Emperor Doom's power, the Maker betrayed his Earth 616 counterpart but was defeated by Molecule Man. Doom realized that his fight was with Namor, and Black Panther was just a distraction, and then found Reed about his master plan, and then found Reed about his master plan to convince Molecule Man that there is a better solution than Doom. Reed defeated Doom and then used the omnipotent powers stolen from the Beyonders to reconstruct the multiverse using infinite slivers, of the Molecule Man and as an anchor. And so the Marvel Universe was born anew. Reed Richards, who began the saga by saying that everything dies, also ended up by saying everything lives. Yo, I don't know if they will carry this out. I don't know how it would be possible for them to carry all of that out. I'm not even saying that they have to. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I understand that there's certain things sometimes that don't translate well from comic books necessarily to the big screen. There has to be concessions made and there have to be some changes, and that might happen here. But if Marvel can pull this off, especially with everyone listed, and like I said, I think there's going to be more people than just that, even though, so I didn't mean to cut my thought early, but I think even though they only listed a few people, or not a few people, they listed a lot of people, I think there will be more people than the list that we got today. I think this was meant as throwing some meat out there for the wolves to gnaw at. People are excited. There is a buzz around this list. I think Marvel is swinging for the stars. Not all fans are going to return. There's some people that are just done. But if there is enough excitement and this movie does well enough, some people may return.